Hi, everybody, and welcome back. My name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing, sorry, my hair's bugging me, sharing 365 tips for frugal living. So today's tip is to start planning your library. I don't really often tell people to buy things. I just, that's just not me. However, there's some things that I want to be able to have access to all the time. So I am fascinated with the concept of foraging. I watch a couple of different foragers, one on YouTube, one on Facebook. And I have a friend who can forage. They're absolutely amazing. They can forage, they can garden, they can cook, they can butcher, they can build. They are an artist. Ever in a zombie apocalypse, this is the person I want on my team. Anyways, I digress. Completely fascinated with foraging. However, I don't have the first clue about foraging. I know, for example, okay, Queen Anne's lace grows prevalently in my area. I'm 99% sure Queen Anne's lace and wild carrot are the same plant and are both edible. Or are both edible if they're different plants. Anyways, it's got kind of a furry stem. It's got those like little itty bitty flower kind of things, almost like a baby's breath look to it, with like typically a little like red or brown or crimson dot in the center. The story goes it's Queen Anne's lace because Queen Anne pricked her finger, and that's, blah blah blah. And if you pull it out, they have these like little roots that smell like carrots and apparently taste like carrots, though they're not as easy to digest as carrots, so like you shouldn't eat them raw, I guess, based on what I was reading today. However, you know what looks a lot like Queen Anne's lace / wild carrot? Poison hemlock and poison water hemlock. They are taller, though. They have these purple splotches. You can get it by touch, though it's harder. Most of the poison hemlock poisonings come from little kids who stick it in their mouth. They don't like try and eat it. They try and like make a whistle or something. I can't remember what it was. It was like a really random reason why they put it in their mouth, but it wasn't to eat. And then they accidentally ingest it. You can't burn poison hemlock because if you burn it, it will, the fumes can get in the air, you breathe them in, and so poison hemlock, very dangerous, but does look very similar to wild carrot. So I do know the difference there. That's one step in the right direction. I don't eat mushrooms no matter how hard I try. I just can't. I can't stomach them. So I guess, no mushrooms. So I guess I'm safe on that front because you know what they say. All mushrooms are edible. Some of them you can only eat once, though. Because, again, you aren't going to, So anyways, I'm thoroughly fascinated with foraging, which is ironic because I'm not a person who... I'm not a veggie person. However, you can forage fruits. Strawberries grow wild. Garlic grows wild. There's like a walking onions or something like that. And I know for a fact that like one of the areas I go to, 99% sure that it has garlic growing wild because I'm always like I'll go at certain times of the year. I'll be like, it smells like garlic. Like it smells like garlic. Like enough to make Dracula run away and hide. Though I don't know why he'd be hiking during the day. Anyways, so these are things I want to learn. Now, I am checking out a variety of books from the library so I can like really read and kind of like research. But the thing is that I don't expect to be able to learn and maintain all of that knowledge. But I think it's important. So what I'm going to do is after I've gone through all of these books, I'm going to choose like my favorite one or two. Then I'm going to choose some more books. And then I'll eventually narrow it down to like, my favorite 5 to 10 in the bunch. I'll check all of them out again. I will compare them and I will decide which ones, and then I will buy 1 or 2 foraging books to keep in my library. I'll also do this with things like gardening, trapping, hunting, fishing, anything like that. So we are expecting potentially, I don't know, it's up, it's down, we're heading for economic collapse, and then it's going to be fine, and then economic collapse, and then it's going to be fine, collapse, fine, collapse, fine. I mean, and that's all in the course of a Tuesday. So I believe in being prepared. And the thing is that depending on what I decide to do, I feel like foraging could be a really good thing. And goals. Eventually, I want to own my own land, a few acres, and be able to travel and have like a more of like an earthen house as my home base. I want options, and I feel like foraging is one of the things that would definitely give me a lot of options, especially if I have my own land. So that's kind of like an end goal. Do I think it's going to happen this year? No. Next year? Probably not. Unless something absolutely amazing happens, like somebody hands me the winning lottery ticket, because I don't play the lottery, then chances are I'm not going to be buying land for a few years. But I do want to be able to have access to my basic needs. Currently, I have shelter. I am, so I'm okay with that. I have shelter. I have clothes. I have enough clothes, and I have the supplies so that I can, sorry, I need lotion, so that I can alter clothes if necessary. So food, clothing, shelter. I've got shelter, I've got clothing. Food is the big need. And I feel like foraging, gardening, all of that can give me that need. It can also give me the ability to trade for stuff. So I feel like for me, foraging is something that it's a skill I want to have, but it's also something that, because it's, and I know it's horrible. And like somewhere in the back of my mind, I've always kind of been like, what happens if civilization collapses? And I'm not really a prepper. Like, the reason I have so much food isn't because I'm a prepper. It's just because I like to buy food on sale. So that's kind of like my thing. And if I stock up when chicken's 99 cents a pound, then, I'm all set. So yeah, that's kind of how I roll. So I'm not like a doomsday prepper. However, somewhere in the back of my head, I've always had this like, what happens if civilization collapses? What would I do? And so, very thoroughly interested. So I've decided that what I am going to buy as a frugal person is books to help me with those skills. Now, I'm not going to buy all the foraging books. Like I said, I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to look at several foraging books. I'm going to read several foraging books, and I'm going to decide, because there's a few things. Like, I saw one today, and it could have been the best book in the world, but the print was super, super tiny, and it kind of gave me a headache just to look at it. So because of the way that book is set up, it's not the book for me. So I'm going to kind of like go through and look that way. And that's how I'll decide what books to get. I also want to get some of the classics. I'll probably be reading those. I'll probably read a classic like every week or two. and then decide which ones I want to add and which ones I don't. And then I'll start looking for those used. So yeah, I guess today's tip for frugal living is kind of start planning what you want in your library, like those books that you want to be able to reference all the time. And before you just go and buy them, first go to your library, read several of them, and decide which books you really feel like you relate to, like you feel like you are, it's easier for you to read, it's easier for you to absorb the knowledge, and it's a book that you feel like you could easily reference and you want to reference. And then go add that book to your collection. You can look for it on sale, look and see if you can find it used, what have you. Maybe you're struggling, you want to get 2 of them. There's 4 that you can't decide between. You find 2 of them on sale or 2 of them used. Maybe that's what makes your decision. So kind of figure out what books you feel like are important in your library or to add to your library, and start kind of like building it so you have your reference library in the event that things do get bad. Because if they do get bad and food scarcity does become an issue, you want to be able to access food in as many ways as you possibly can. So, and food may become scarce for you, even if it doesn't become scarce for everybody. And so, in the event that finances change, maybe you lose your job, maybe groceries get sky high, maybe you just want a way to save money on them. So adding those skills and having those reference books can definitely help. Anyways, again, my name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. If you want to hear more, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.